BRIT of Fort Worth, a botanical research institute of Texas. Would you like to know more about this green building with a cool living roof? Well, come join us as we take a journey through BRIT.
BRIT was created by some smart men here in Fort Worth in response to SMU's herbarium, which is a collection of preserved plants being discarded, actually. When budget cuts hit a university, usually the first thing to go is something like a library collection or a herbarium that folks may not necessarily see as having value. So, and herbariums are expensive to preserve. They have to be cared for in a particular way in order to last for a long amount of time, which is what we want. So the collection from SMU was brought over here to Fort Worth, and then they said, okay, great, we have this, now what? So temporary, it was intended to be temporary storage in the Tyndall storage facility there on the east side of town. Well, it stayed in there for almost 20 years. We did have access at that location to researchers, but it was pretty much an unknown jewel for Fort Worth in terms of the general public. They didn't really have the opportunity to do education and community outreach like we have in this facility. So this dream came about 5 years ago, and through various large individual and corporate sponsors and a bunch of small individual sponsors like you and I, this has come about. We aren't connected directly with any major university, which is kind of unique for a herbarium and a library collection. And so funding is kind of an issue sometimes. So I will talk more about that as we go along. But this building was open, the grand opening for the new headquarters here was May 21st of 2011, so just short of 2 years ago.
So, what really is the definition of a green building? Well, a sustainable or green building design and construction provide an opportunity to use resources more efficiently while creating healthier and more energy efficient homes and commercial buildings. Successful green buildings leave a lighter footprint on the environment through conservation of resources, while at the same time balancing energy efficient, cost-effective, low-maintenance products for construction needs. In other words, green building design involves finding the delicate balance between home building and a sustainable environment. The BRIT building is a green building in every sense of the word. For example, these tall windows on the north side of the building prove a purpose. Listen to Jackie as she explains why.
A lot of the time we don't have these lights on and it's still perfectly bright enough to read on a bright sunny day like this. Now, why do you think we have all these windows on the north side of the building? What's the benefit of that? It's passive solar in a way.
It keeps the heat down.
It keeps the heat out. We try to have not direct sunlight coming in.
On the land where the BRIT building now stands, there used to be another building. That building was dismantled and 90% of it was reused and reclaimed in other buildings and partly in this one. As part of the greenness of this building, the ceilings are made of bamboo and the floor is made of reclaimed concrete that has been pressed to make terrazzo, which makes a very unique look and awesome because it's all reclaimed material.
That's true, but terrazzo is not the only recyclable flooring that's in this building. Just down the hall in the resource room, you'll find a softer floor that's made from tires and old sneakers, and it looks really, really cool.
Bearings a little bit on the building here. Come on out this way. This is actually two buildings, and they're connected just by this glass atrium right here. The one that runs east-west this way, we call our think block, which has our researchers' offices up here, and the education wing, the exhibit hall, and the classrooms down on the end there. This is the archive block, which runs north-south, which houses the herbarium and our 4 libraries, which we'll see when we go upstairs. So let's take a look in the plant preservation studio. That's a real person, not a mannequin. Everybody wave at him. And the plant preservation studio, if you're interested in becoming a volunteer here, it's a terrific place to work. There's usually more than one person in there. You don't have to work alone. But if you have an artsy bent to you, the plant preservation studio is a great place to work as a volunteer. What they are doing is plants are collected from all around the world. They're packaged, they're put in a press. We have collectors that go literally all over the world, and we'll look at the map behind you in just a minute to kind of pinpoint some of the hot spots where the research is going on. But it's just a dead plant until we attach the documentation to it. We need to know where, when, by whom it was collected, and that used to be kind of tough. We'd have collectors. We've got some collectors that came through here, German collectors in the mid-1800s. But if they wrote down, at least they wrote down, thank goodness, where they collected the plant, then it might have said 50 paces from Brown's barn. Well, Brown's barn fell down 50 years ago. It would be hard to find exactly where that is now, so we use GPS now, which is terrific. And we can go and recollect, hopefully, and see if that plant is still there.
The living roof is the crown jewel of the BRIT building. With its attempt to recreate the Texas prairies with its drought-tolerant plants, it helps in the insulation of the building as well as maintaining a sustainable environment.
What makes this roof most unique is the fact that we kept emphasizing the important use of living, natural soil. And the problem that comes with that is the extra weight loading of that living, natural soil. The people that designed this roof actually increased the weight loading of the roof so that we could use some component of natural soils in this. And as my experience with Biosphere 2 led me to understand that living soil is probably your most important component of a regenerative or restoration design. So the wonderful thing that working with Beck Construction allowed us to do was actually to use their resources to locate a natural prairie barrens, and we visited several sites until we found one that had a relatively low weed content and a very friendly owner who donated the soil and the loading equipment. So we were able to load up the living soil and put it into the coconut fiber containers when they were planted within less than 3 weeks.
Those coconut fibers and the rest of the layout of the roof is on display at the BRIT building, and you don't even have to take a tour to see them. Just walk in and head toward the herbarium and you'll find them in the corner. That concludes our virtual tour of the Botanical Research Institute of Texas, BRIT of Fort Worth. What a treasure it is to have it here in North Texas.